Just make sure everything's good. Alright, audio sounds good. Hopefully my dishwasher going off does not super mess up with the volume. But what's up, guys? It's your boy Malin coming at you with Madden 24. Yeah, I know. Last week, no Madden or anything like that. Because I finished up the Tennessee Titans rebuild. Now, I've talked about doing this team once before. Originally, I feel I have a no NFC East teams rule because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and I don't want to really rebuild any NFC East teams in order to just dominate Dallas and make them go basically out of the picture. But I'm going to make an exception for this one because this past season, this New York Giants team was pretty interesting despite all the turmoil that they went through. Daniel Jones wasn't playing well in the beginning. He got hurt. Tommy DeVito comes in, plays good football, gives them a big lift when they beat the Packers before they took off with Jordan Love and made the playoffs. Saquon, he had a mess season. They decided to, go ahead and just let him go. He goes to the Eagles now. But I think with this rebuild, it may be a deal where we build around him as opposed to the quarterback. Now, one thing I did check before I started this live stream is the injury report. And I think the reason that this is all blank is because at this point, everything's been updated from Madden 24 to not include real-life injuries. Had I been starting this rebuild in the middle or during the playoffs when the actual season was still going on, it probably would have said, Daniel Jones is still hurt and some other things like that. So based on that, to kind of make this sort of like how the real 2023 season was for the Giants, I'm probably going to have Daniel Jones start the season. But if we don't play well, then I'm going to bench him in favor of another QB. Now, with his contract situation, they overpaid for him. In real life, I felt like that, and I feel like that, a quarterback that's overall at 72, paying that much money to him, it says bridge quarterback. Daniel Jones, I feel like, is not the solution for the Giants. I think, really, this rebuild is going to be centered on getting another quarterback either in this year's draft or in free agency, or maybe we just go kind of like we did with the Titans rebuild with Will Levis, the guy who was on the team, and just focus on building around them. But I don't know if I can do much with a Tommy DeVito 61 overall rating. So what I'm thinking about doing is that if Daniel Jones doesn't play very well, I'll try Tyrod Taylor and, maybe then DeVito if I have to do it. Saquon is the main guy for this offense. I know this is the last year of his contract. We are not letting him go. Because if we're going to have quarterback struggles and Daniel Jones is shaky in terms of our starter, I want a solid running back, kind of like with Derrick Henry, in order to just kind of carry the load for the offense. 92 overall at only 26, that's something that I'm not just going to let walk away. We still have Breida backing him up, Eric Gray, Corbin and Brightwell, of course, are backing him up. We don't have a fullback, so I'm going to go ahead and probably sign one. Our receiving core needs work. Okay, Darius Slayton, 78 overall, not bad, but not good. This receiving core, in my opinion, has not recovered since Odell Beckham Jr. left. And, Sterling Shepard is still here, but by this point of his career at 30 years old, he's regressed down to 74. He's the fourth best receiver in this group right now. Paris Campbell and Wan'Dale Robinson, who had a pretty good year in real life in 2023, is better than him right now. And, Hodgins is a solid guy, and we have Hyatt, of course. And, our tight end Darren Waller's eating up so much money at 85 overall. Andrew Thomas, though, good left tackle. Decent left guard in Justin Pugh, albeit at 31. He may retire in a year or two. I'm not really sure. John Michael Spitz Jr., 78 overall center. I could do better than that. Right guard, Glosky, 73 overall. More to be desired there. And Evan Neal, only 1 year, second year out. This will be a second year out of Alabama. A lot of potential there, but only at 71. He's a scheme fit guy, so that might prompt me to keep him around. 75, Ashawn Robinson, and 68 overall, Raheem Nunez-Roches Sr. What a mouthful. But 68 overall left in. Not very good. And Dexter Lawrence, 96 overall. Okay, that's a little bit surprising. I did not expect Dexter Lawrence to be rated that high. 96 overall, D tackle at 25. Okay, so that's something for the D-line to build around. The linebacking core needs work. We got, Okafor, 86, Simmons, McFadden, a couple guys in the 70s backing him up. Thibodeau, 79. Hopefully he can get up to being an 80s guy. Adoree Jackson, maybe a guy to keep. Maybe, Banks, we got Flott. Yeah, we'll see about these guys. McKinley, 85 overall, 74 overall, Jason Pinnock. So safeties are looking okay. We have Gano, we have Bullock, and we have Cade York. We got interesting slodge of kickers and punters. Jamie Gillian, so yeah. All right, well, we are in the preseason, so we're going to have to do some cutting for sure. But before that, let's go ahead and grab ourselves a real fullback for this season, for the first season, just so we can have somebody in there to be blocking for Saquon properly in the running game. Because I don't think, I really don't want to have a tight end have to do it. So I'm going to bring in Derek Watt. I'm going to bring him in as our starting fullback for this season. We're going to sign him to a one-year deal because we don't have a fullback, so we're going to bring him in and have him block for us and hopefully be a little bit of help for that running game. So we've got that situation taken care of. So let's go ahead and advance through the preseason. We'll get to cut down days, and we'll see kind of what happens. That's the plan for right now because, we have a great running back. We have a top 10 running back in this league, but we have a quarterback that's inconsistent and only at 72 overall, being paid all that money. I don't think things are going to look very better for Daniel Jones. I may look to trade him in this first off season of the rebuild and really try to think about the direction of the quarterback, position for the future, because I don't really see Daniel Jones getting better than 72 overall, if not much better during the season. And I'm not expecting much in this first season. And we need to get a real number one wide receiver, because as much as I just like Slayton, he's not a guy that I feel like is a dominant number one receiver guy. I feel like that we need to get somebody to the level of an OBJ. Somebody that is actually going to be stepping up as a real weapon. So we went 1-2 in the preseason. Let's go in and upgrade our players before we get down to cut down days, because we got to cut 12 guys. Saquon getting an upgrade. That's cool. All right. So we're doing that. And let's go ahead and manage the staff, because we have 21 skill points to spend. As far as the head coach, Brian Dable, I think, is still worth keeping for maybe this entire rebuild that I do it, but we'll see, because right now I don't really know. I mean, Dable in real life is under questioning because of the fact that he was a successful offensive coordinator with Buffalo, but of course you can look at Josh Allen for his success. But still, at this time in the timeline that we're in right now, starting out the 2023 preseason, this is a team that without a bona fide number one wide receiver made the playoffs. So there's not a whole lot of, questioning there, but we'll see, because in real life, this Giants team, I think, was like 5-12 or 6-11, something like that. I do know the final game of the regular season, they crushed the Eagles when the Eagles were starting to really fade, so, that was unexpected, but that was pretty good. All right, so we got to cut some guys. We got a bunch of extra running backs, so I'm going to move Gary Brightwell to the practice squad. And maybe I'll come back to Corbin in a little bit, but not right now at this particular moment. I'm going to cut Gunner. We have a lot of extra receivers, but Isaiah, I don't want to get rid of him because he's a promising young receiver. That's our long snapper, so I actually don't want to get rid of him. Let's go ahead and cut. Well, that will leave us with only 2 tight ends, so let me come back to that. Left guard. Maybe offensive lineman. We have some extra guys we can cut. Yeah, let's cut Sean Harlow. Not related to Jack Harlow, I guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. Can we cut Hauster? No, it'll be a cap penalty. Okay, so we have some center depth. I'm going to put... let's see. Let's go ahead and... well, it says we do not recommend. Okay. All right, well, let's go to defense. We're pretty thin on the defensive line, so I don't think I can afford to cut really anybody. Jihad Ward, former Cowboy, I remember him. It'll net in a cap penalty, so I don't think I should. So I can't cut him. We have a lot of extra linebackers. Cam Brown. That was Carter Coughlin. I guess he's related to Tom Coughlin. Got a lot of money tied up in these guys. So, no. I mean, I don't want to put a 73 overall linebacker on the practice squad. He'll get snatched up right away. All right, we got a lot of corners. All right. Trey Hawkins, I'm going to move you to practice squad. If we lose him, that's fine. Darnay Holmes, can't really cut him. Aaron Robinson, I'm going to move him to practice squad. That may be a risk, but I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we got 5 corners. I kind of want to stay at that number. We have extra kickers. I know that much. All right, yeah, these guys can be cut. I'm going to cut Cade York, and I'm going to cut Randy Bullock as well because we have Graham Gano. He's healthy, so yeah, he's going to be our starting punter. I still got to cut 5 guys. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna put Jashawn Corbin on practice, so now we only have 3 running backs. So the depth got thin there, but you got to do what you got to do. Well, with our tight end room, it's getting pretty. I'm going to cut Kager, 67 overall tight end. I don't want to cut our long snapper, even though it's a glorified tight end position in Madden. We have a lot of money tied up in our centers. I want to put Marcus McKeithy on a practice squad. He may get snatched up, but it is what it is. Pert, can't do anything with him. Yeah, defensive line is getting thin, so I'm going to blaze through this. Let's go back to linebackers. Okay. That's going to give me a penalty, so I don't want to cut Ward if that's going to be a penalty. Cam Brown. That'll be a penalty as well. Davis? That's going to be cutting like one of my best players. So this is a risk, but I'm going to put Micah McFadden on practice. He's the only linebacker who's even eligible for practice squad, so I'm probably going to lose him to somebody. Somebody's probably going to snatch him up. McLeod, I'm going to move him to practice squad, and that's the best that we can do. I'm probably going to lose some of these guys to other teams based on putting them on practice, but we had, 65, we had 12 guys we had to cut or put on practice squad, so thin pickings for this roster. All right, but we're going into week 1, and one of our guys, so Marcus McKeithian got picked up by the Lions. Not surprised about that. Let's go ahead and get the draft class in here for 2024. Let's get this loaded up in here. There's everybody, Caleb, Drake May, everybody else that we typically have for the first draft class of the rebuilds. The gang's all here. All right. Hire and assign scouts. All right. Well, starting off week 1 against the arch rival my Dallas Cowboys. So let's go ahead and simulate to the middle of the season and see where we're at. If we're struggling, then I'm going to probably put in Tyrod Taylor. And, if he doesn't do well for the next couple of games at the midseason, then maybe it's Tommy DeVito time. Try to test him out, see what he can do. Because it's going to be a quarterback by committee thing, I think, this season. Unless Daniel Jones is playing lights-out football, we're going to be looking to shuffle the quarterback position up for the Giants. And seriously, in real life, I can't believe Daniel Jones got all that money for one playoff win. Because that's all he has. And it was a big upset in the 2022 playoffs against the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. But the Giants also got stomped the next week in Philadelphia in the divisional round a couple of years back. And, all of a sudden Daniel Jones gets all the money. And Saquon doesn't get any. To me, that was a dumb move by the Giants. For the sake of me being a Cowboys fan, it was good to laugh at that. But I mean, seriously, if I'm the Giants, if I'm Giants fans, I got to be wondering what the front office is thinking with investing all this money in Daniel Jones, who only has one playoff win to his name. That's why I'm thinking that he may be trade bait in the first off season to maybe get a better quarterback or move up in the draft. So maybe we can get somebody like a Drake May, but I don't know. So we'll see kind of what we get, or maybe even somebody like a Jalen Daniels. So we're actually not off to a bad start. We're 4-3. We're third in the NFC East. The Eagles are undefeated at 7-0. Cowboys 4-2. We're 4-3. Commanders are 2-5. So I don't think we have to worry about the Commanders this season. Just like in real life, they're not playing well. But 4-3. That's not that awful in my opinion. I think that's actually a better starting point than I thought that we would be at. But, the knuckle sandwich could be right around the corner, so to speak. So in the meantime, let's get to the negotiating and let's see who we have. I know one of them is probably going to be Saquon. Yep, there he is. Okay, listen, Saquon Barkley, you are not escaping us. Player friendly. Let's see about this option first. Offer's perfect. Okay, we got Saquon. That ate up a lot of money, though, for as far as the cap. Xavier McKinney, though, is also somebody else that I'm thinking about keeping around. And maybe Jackson and maybe Simmons, but I don't know. In real life, the Giants traded for Brian Burns. But yeah, McKinney's interest is up, which makes me feel better. Let's see about the neutral deal. Okay, he took the neutral offer. Good. Okay, I didn't know if he was going to take that or not, but he did. Okay, so we got our starting running back and our starting free safety back. Garrett Watt will get another fullback in the offseason. Jackson is our top corner. But I don't know. We need to have some money somewhere saved, if you know what I mean. His interest is up there, though. So because he's interested, let's see about the neutral deal and see if he'll bite on this. So he needs a bigger offer. Okay, so he probably wants a player-friendly deal. Simmons is going to need more convincing, and same thing with Campbell. Robinson, but we can get better at defensive end in free agency. I think Sterling Shepard we're going to let walk. The rest of these guys, Hodgins has promise, but I don't really think it'd be too worth it. But you know what? I think Pugh may be worth keeping around for 1 year if we can keep. Yeah, he needs a bigger offer than that. Okay, well, if Pugh is not going to be committed for just 1 year, then I think maybe move on from that. Phillips, he's not our starter. No, he's not our starter. So these guys aren't our starters. But Pugh is. Tyrod I could bring back if we need backup quarterback help. But we also have Tommy DeVito. I think, because we got DeVito in terms of quarterback insurance, okay, well, DeVito is also a free agent. Okay, well, I'm going to bring back DeVito on at least like maybe a 2-year deal. It's probably going to be minimum anyway. So, but we just need backup quarterbacks. Media question. Let's see what Jonathan Coachman has to ask us. Saquon Barkley is going to be part of this team one way or another. I'm going to say that. Obviously, the deal is done. We got him back on a 4-year deal. Saquon Barkley is here to stay as a New York Giant. Despite what they've done in real life, we're building around pretty much our running back. We get another solid receiver in here. We get the quarterback situation figured out. We'll be winning the NFC East before you know it. But hey, this first season is still well underway, so we'll kind of see what happens week by week. Playing the Jets this week, they're 3-3. I assume that Aaron Rodgers is healthy in this particular universe, so the Jets are a more of a dangerous team than they would be in real life had Rodgers been out for the whole season. And we beat the Jets. Wow, we crushed the Jets, and we're now 5-3, but we have a new injury. Let's see who's injured. Saquon is out for 3 weeks with a foot fracture. Oh, my goodness. Well, man, we just gave him a big contract, and he has a foot fracture. Well, fortunately, we have some decent backup running backs in Breida, so we're gonna keep Breida, so we're gonna keep him running. And I know we can get. Based on the way that we're playing, this could be a playoff team in the first year of the rebuild. Surprisingly enough, so we'll see. Practice squad player signed. Cardinals have signed Nick McLeod. Okay, so we got another practice squad player poached from us. Let's go ahead and upgrade some of our positions. Saquon getting upgraded even though he's out for 3 weeks with a foot fracture. What's the Raiders' record? They're 3-5. Okay, but we have a tough game coming up again against Dallas in the rematch, and we've also got the Commanders, and Commanders are still not very good, but we got that Cowboys game, so Saquon being out for this 3-week period, we'll see how good this offense is. I'm not going to, be pinning too much on, Daniel Jones maybe not being at 100% his best, but, we'll see. All right, so, Adoree, I think, is just a guy that we need to throw a little bit more money at. So let's go ahead and go with a player-friendly deal. This may be overpaying. Offer's perfect, okay, but a 7-9 overall corner I think is worth investing in. If we get another corner to help out, that's fine. Simmons, Robinson, where's Pugh at? Okay, so Pugh wanted something a little bit better. The player-friendly deal, this is a 2-year deal, exactly the offer. Okay, so he just wanted multiple years, and we're still at $31 million in terms of cap space. Okay, all right. And I think I'm just really going to stick to players for this rebuild where the interest is there. Like they're interested in coming back. Except if they're backups. If they're definitely guys that I know for sure are backups, we're letting them walk. The only exception for this is going to be DeVito because Tyrod is also a free agent. And I, may move on from Daniel Jones if this season goes down the tubes. So, just maybe kind of worth thinking about. Let's see, who else is even interested? Robinson is interested in, coming back. But none of these guys really are. Simmons letting a 7-8 overall middle linebacker go, a guy who's our starter, is probably going to be risky, but we could probably get another good linebacker in free agency this offseason to replace him. That's just the way I feel, and we'll go from there. All right, 5-3, going against 3-5 Raiders. We don't have Saquon for 3 weeks. So this will be a real test to see how good Daniel Jones is at running this offense if he doesn't have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. So it'll be a good test for him. And we lost by 18 points to the Raiders that were 3-5. Wow. Well, that doesn't make Jones's campaign any better. It looks like one of our practice squad guys got signed. I'm going to look at the replay and see who it was. Something that started with an A. Okay, so, but basically one of our practice squad players got picked up. So let's go ahead and upgrade players once again. Let's upgrade our center. And we got the rematch against Dallas this week. How are the Cowboys doing? They are 6-2. They're firmly in second place in the division. If we lose this game to them, we probably won't be able to catch them, meaning we can't be second place in the division to the Eagles, which would pretty much derail any chances of making the playoffs, which would be disappointing. But we don't have our running back. Saquon's still going to miss this game, and he's going to miss the Commanders game. So our offense is really relying on Daniel Jones taking it to the next level. So let's see. And we beat the Cowboys with no Saquon. Wow, that is surprising. We won by 4 points. Weekly awards. Who got awards this week? Daniel Jones won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. 421 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, 2 sacked, 3 carries, 13 rush yards. Okay, wow. So Daniel Jones had NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Well, he's making his case for remaining the starter and having no questions about his ability. So I'm surprised. I'm pretty surprised that he's playing this well this season. I didn't think he had this in him, especially if Saquon misses 3 games during the season. So, that's pretty big. Commanders are 2-8. So they may be one of the worst teams in the league. So yeah, we'll see how things kind of go here. Let's go to the negotiating screen and see who's new that we can negotiate with, and any of these guys' interest has changed. Because sometimes as you win games during the season, the interest of certain players that are set to be free agents will go up, meaning they're interested in signing, and you can kind of woo them to sign as opposed to letting them go. All right, well, I think still the only guy that I'm really focusing on retaining that's at the bottom tier list is DeVito, simply because of quarterback depth, because we let Tyrod Taylor walk, and, maybe Daniel Jones, we think maybe is the answer, maybe isn't. We'll see. So let me check out the roster and see what Jones's rating is at. Well, he's still rated at a 72, so his overall hasn't gone up. I still feel like that there's a chance we could get better in the offseason at quarterback, even with Daniel Jones having a decent season. It's based on the ratings, and to complete a rebuild and do like I always do, lead the team to a championship and then call it. That's hard sometimes. Well, 6-4, we're third in our division. We did beat the Cowboys, but Dallas is 6-3 because they've had a bye week and we haven't. So if we can't lose, we got to beat the Commanders. If we don't beat the Commanders, then we're definitely in trouble because we'll slip back firmly, a full game behind the Cowboys for second in the division, and we'll be in trouble. Well, fortunately, we didn't drop the ball. We beat the Commanders by 11 points, so we had a pretty convincing win against Washington. Patriots are 5-5, so they're looking not so bad, and going to give Daniel Jones a little bit of an upgrade. That's good. Still holding it at 72, though, which, I'd like to see more than that. Okay, so we got the Patriots this week. They're 5-5. We're 7-4. They're a little bit better than us on paper. Hopefully we don't lose this. We're still stuck at third in the division because Dallas hasn't lost really any games. So it's really us and Dallas for second in the NFC East and possibly the playoffs. This is the week after where the playoff picture exists, so we'll see what we look like. Okay, so we actually beat them by 7. I think we're on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak, and we finally have our bye week. So let's check the playoff picture and see if we're in here. We are. We are currently in the 6th spot, behind the Cowboys. The Eagles are not only leading the division, but leading the entire conference. 49ers, Falcons, Saints, us, Vikings, and the Cowboys. So, pretty interesting playoffs we have going, which is kind of similar to the way it was in real life. All right. Upgrade players. Let's go ahead and upgrade Deonta Banks, our second corner. We have some skill points to spend, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the managed staff and see if maybe I can give some of those skill points to some of our position coaches. Let's go to Todd Walters, our offensive coordinator. People movers. That's an interesting tribute. Let's give him both skill points there. All right. It probably has to do with the offensive line, I would have to guess. So that's good. We've got him upgrades there for our offensive coordinator. We'll use those 3 skill points for later. All right, let's get through our bye week, and let's get ready for the next game against the Packers. This is the game where in real life Tommy DeVito had his greatest game as a quarterback for the Giants. But I don't think we're going to have any Tommy DeVito magic in this first season of the rebuild because Daniel Jones is surprisingly playing better than I thought. Well, we're 8-4 right now. We're in the playoff picture, but we're still in third place in the NFC East. So yeah, Packers are 6-6. We're going to be playing some decently good teams down the stretch. So this is going to be really a test to see if we're going to fall apart or if we're going to be in good shape. Fortunately, we have Saquon back for this game. I think this will be his first game back. So that'll be a big boost for the offense. And we win again. We are on a great winning streak right now. Let's view weekly awards. Justin Pinnock, our strong safety, got 9 tackles and an interception. He won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. All right, good for him, our strong safety. Of course, we got McKinley over there as well. So I think our safety core is looking pretty good for the foreseeable future of this rebuild. So I might not have to do too much tweaking with the secondary. Maybe another corner, like a nickel guy, but we locked in Jackson for a new contract, and we have Banks, so we're looking pretty good there. Let's check out the playoff picture and see if we're still there. Hopefully we're not out of it. Yeah, we're still in there at the 6th spot. If we're consistent, we're probably locked into the 6th spot, but we'll see. We'll see how things kind of transpire towards the end of the season. All right. We won't be able to do probably any negotiations with the bottom tier guys like DeVito until the last week of the regular season, so I'm probably going to wait till Eagles week to end the year until I do something there. So we win again against the New Orleans Saints by 10. But we have a new injury. Who's hurt now? Hopefully nobody too significant. Robinson dislocated ankle, out for 5 weeks. Well, he is our third receiver, so that hurts a little bit. But we have guys like Rodgers and some other guys that are younger that can fill in the void. He's not our starting receiver, so I'm okay with not taking any action in terms of IR or anything like that. So we'll just stick with him, and hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. Because fortunately, it looks like that based on the consistency that we're having, we may make it no problem. Now, Dallas, it looks like they lost. So they're now third place in the division. They're probably still in the playoff picture, but we've probably catapulted up. Yes, we're the 5th seed. They're the 6th seed now. So we've swapped places with them. So we're looking a little bit better. And wow, we would have potentially a rematch this time. Well, no, it would be on the road again in Minnesota for the 2nd year in a row. That's what it's looking like. Well, we got another tough game this week. We're playing the best team probably in the league right now, the 12-2 Eagles. They're no joke, and I don't think they're going to fall off like they did in real life. So this is going to be probably our toughest game of the year. If we lose, I don't think it'll impact us too much, but hopefully we don't lose by a lot. Well, we didn't lose by a lot. We only lost by 7, so that's not that bad. They're the best team in the NFL. We're still a ways away from really competing for a Super Bowl, in my opinion. So, we'll keep working through that. Daniel Jones may be it. He may be worth sticking with based on how we do. So, we'll see. Let's view the playoff picture again. Let's take a look. We only got 2 more weeks left. So unfortunately, we're back in the 6th spot because we lost to the Eagles. So that hurt us a little bit. So I think Dallas must have won their game, so it vaulted them back into 2nd place. But it's still looking like that, we'll make the playoffs. So not too worried about that. Let's go ahead and advance to next week. We're playing the 6-9 Rams. So this should be a win. If it's a loss, I'm going to be worried about our momentum going into the postseason. And we beat the Rams by 3. It was close, but we did it. We got our final game of the regular season against Philadelphia. This just may be more than anything a battle for kind of just some playoff positioning. So at this point, whether we win or lose, I don't think it really will impact our positioning too much because the Eagles, are firmly in there. So, yeah, we're still 3rd, but we have the same record as Dallas. So maybe they could potentially lose and we could vault them again. Let's check weekly awards. Daniel Jones, NFC Offensive Player for the 2nd time this season. 386 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, sacked twice, 3 carries, -3 yards. So he had another great game in a big game against the Rams. So good week for him. All right, let's go to negotiating. We have 21 guys that we can negotiate with now. So let me see whose interest has gone up, if anybody, because we're winning and we're playoff bound, so that may kind of influence some guys. So Tommy DeVito, his interest actually shot up, so that's good for him. So I'm going to see if I can get him here on a neutral deal. Happy to continue to sign. Okay, so we've got our backup quarterback inked in, but I think everybody else that you see is gone. But we've got Tommy DeVito locked in, so we at least have some quarterback insurance there in terms of backup roles. And if anything happens this offseason or we want to go in a different direction, potentially we'll do that. Final year of his contract has turned... Well, he didn't turn it down. I don't know where Coachman is getting that, but we got him signed for a couple more years. But I'm a little bit surprised that you would ask questions about the guy that's our 3rd-string quarterback, even though I've talked about him all the time, but, still. Okay. Whatever, Coachman. That's Madden's broken system. All right, well, let's see about this final regular season game against Philly. If we win, great. If we lose, not bad. I don't think we'll win. We'll see. Wow, we beat the Eagles? Oh, my goodness. So we are firmly in the driver's seat. Well, not in the driver's seat, but we're in the 2nd spot in the NFC East. Unfortunately, because we didn't win our division, the Eagles did, and the Cowboys also snuck in right behind us. We actually have to go on the road for what could be these whole playoffs. So we'll see. Now, just because this is the very first year of the rebuild, and to be completely honest, I did not expect us to make the playoffs. I think I'm just going to go ahead and sim through the postseason and just see where we're at. So it may just be for this first year of the rebuild. There's no gameplay. It's mostly menus and simulation, which I've done in some videos before. I feel like it does kind of take away some of the value of videos that I do like that. But at the same time, this is the very first year of the rebuild, and we're kind of really exceeding my expectations. We're in the playoffs, so now the bar has been set higher for Brian Dable for the rest of this. Now, obviously, because we made the playoffs and we may potentially win a playoff game, we won't have a high draft pick, so we might not be able to pick the top tier of the quarterback market, the quarterback in terms of draft, but we'll probably draft at least some quarterback, unless there's a free agent guy that I'm interested in bringing in to maybe challenge Daniel Jones, or maybe has a little bit of a better rating, because still, Daniel Jones is 72, is still Daniel Jones is 72. So I'm thinking of it from the overall perspective. Well, the Packers actually are rated better than us, even though we have a better record. We did beat them in the regular season, but we got to go up to Lambeau to play them now. So, let's see. Do we get our first playoff win of the rebuild in the very first year, or are we going home one and done? Let's see. Yeah, one and done. Still, not that bad, but work to be done. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. But let's check the weekly awards. I guess maybe... So Jones actually won NFC Offensive Player of the Week with 291 yards, 2 TDs. He was sacked 4 times, which kind of indicates to me improvement on the offensive line may be needed. But, yeah. All right. Well, that's the playoffs for us. So let's go ahead and advance through the rest of the postseason, and we'll see who's playing in the Super Bowl for the first year of the rebuild. Check the playoff bracket. Go to NFC. We're in Conference Championship week. So the Jets stunned the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Dolphins beat the Browns. Bills beat the Jaguars. Bills beat the Dolphins. The Bengals, they have the number 1 seed. They beat the Jets. Obviously, Joe Burrow's healthy right now. And Bengals, Bills in the AFC Championship. Eagles, Packers. Eagles got here by defeating Dallas after they beat Atlanta. And the Packers beat the 49ers in an upset after they, of course, beat us. And, of course, the Niners, were in that position because they beat New Orleans in Week 1 in the first round. All right. So, Conference Championship week. We'll see kind of what happens. Who gets a chance to go to the Super Bowl in the first year of our rebuild. Looks like it's the Eagles and the Bengals. Wow, Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl. So the Eagles beat the Packers in a high-scoring affair, 44-38, and the Bengals beat the Bills. So the Bengals go into their second Super Bowl in 3 years under Joe Burrow, and they beat the Bills by 1 point. Wow, so pretty good conference championship weekend. Close matchups, a lot of scoring. Let's check out the Pro Bowl roster and see if any of the Giants made the Pro Bowl. No Daniel Jones. No Saquon Barkley either. Our fullback, Derek Watt, who we picked up in free agency, made it. Okay. Well, we're still going to look for a different fullback. Any receivers? Darius Slayton made it. Good for him. Maybe that'll get his rating up a little bit, even being in a 79. No offensive linemen. What about defensive guys? Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle, made it. So far, our fullback, our receiver, and our defensive tackle have made the Pro Bowl this year in the first year. Pinnock made it. So 4 Giants. All right, so 4 of our Giants made the Pro Bowl this year. Not bad for the first year. Good for them. All right, let's get to Super Bowl week, and we'll get to the offseason. See what we have to do. Really didn't expect us to have a playoff season in the first year of the rebuild, but we're letting, outside of, we're bringing back some of our best players that were free agents, but we're also letting a bunch of depth guys go. So this is still in a rebuild phase, if you ask me. So Jalen Hurts won MVP. Coach of the Year goes to Nick Sirianni. All right, let's see about NFC Offensive Player of the Year. That's Alvin Kamara. No Giants. Defensive Player of the Year. Dexter Lawrence finished 5th. Wow. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, Offensive Rookie of the Year, excuse me. No Giants. Defensive Rookie of the Year. No Giants there either. Best QB. Daniel Jones came in 3rd. Good for him. Best running back. Saquon 6th. Best receiver. Darius Slayton finished 6th. All right. Best offensive lineman. No Giants. Best defensive lineman. Dexter Lawrence 4th. No other Giants. Best linebacker. Nobody. Best DB. Jason Pennick 3rd. Good for him. So we had a couple of guys that were in the running. And Graham Gano finished 4th for best kicker. All right. So we had some guys, in the running. They're making some noise, doing a little something, something. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and see who wins the Super Bowl. See who wins it all. And the Eagles beat the Bengals. So the Eagles have now won their 2nd World Championship, and the Bengals have lost their 2nd Super Bowl in 3 years. So disappointing for them. But yeah, the Eagles, so a team in our division, won it all. So that is some extra motivation. So those are the big guys that we got to worry about. But who knows? The Eagles may lose a bunch of guys too, and so could potentially Dallas. So based on the momentum that we have, hopefully we carry some of that into next season. Okay. So Philadelphia's won their 2nd championship. The MVP was Darius Slay Jr. Okay. The NFL MVP, of course, was Hurts. Coach of the Year was Sirianni. So everything really aligned with Eagles all the way. Offensive Player of the Year overall was Kamara. Max Crosby won Defensive Player of the Year for the Raiders. Not surprised. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Puka Nacua. And Brian Breece of the Saints won Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's surprising. Didn't really think that he would win. Didn't really have him on anybody's radar. But good for him. All right. So now we got to get to the phase of, letting everybody else hit the open market. We do have some needs. We're letting our best middle linebacker walk. So we got needs there. Maybe I could try potentially like the Giants did in real life, maybe training for Brian Burns. We'll see. So we got to fill our staff. Looks like one of our coaches got plucked or something. So it looks like we lost our defensive coordinator. He must have gone somewhere else. So we got to hire one. Okay then. Well, let's see. Defensive coordinators that are available. Yeah. All right. No. That. So we have only 3 guys to choose from. Okay. Well, spread. Let's go with Scott Anderson. All right. Let's go ahead and view his talent tree. 78 points to spend, so we got to rebuild his tree, if you will, his skill set. Only got 6 skill points. All right. Well, at least we build up some of him again. Space defenders, quarterback hunter. Okay. Well, we got a new defensive coordinator. How much is that going to impact our defensive scheme? Because it may, but we'll see. So we hired Scott Anderson as our new defensive coordinator. Let's view retirements. See if we had anybody retire from our team. I don't think we would have, because I didn't really see anybody that was really up there in age except for maybe one of our offensive linemen. Well, Tyrod Taylor decided to retire after 13 years. He was set to be a free agent, but that doesn't really matter. Obviously, he probably saw that we re-signed Tommy DeVito as opposed to him, so he probably saw the writing on the wall. But Tyrod Taylor, our backup quarterback, is going to hit the retirement chair. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's advance to the beginning of the offseason, and let's see what holes we have to fill. I'm going to look at the roster based on the guys that we had that were released, and see what positions of need that we're going to have during the offseason in free agency. So let's take a look at our squad and see where we need to get new players at. So I'm open. Even though Daniel Jones is a 75 overall, I'm open to another quarterback in free agency, or maybe drafting a quarterback, not in the first round, but maybe the second round. Running back, fine. We didn't bring back Britta, but we also have a bunch of other guys that were backing up Saquon anyway. We do need a new fullback. We actually lost quite a bit of our receivers. So we have an 81 overall Darius Slayton, which is good, but we have Robinson still here, and we have Hyatt. So we have to really rebuild kind of this receiving group, because we only have 3 receivers. Tight ends are looking okay, and we do probably need a third guy. We'll probably draft one. Left guard, we got Pugh back. I don't know how much longer he'll play. Center is looking okay. Right guard is actually looking okay, and even right tackle. So we just really need depth guys. But we don't have any left defensive ends, so we need to replace those guys. And we could use definitely defensive line help. Dexter Lawrence is up to a 98. So his Pro Bowl season was a big breakout that was definitely needed. Linebackers, we could, Bobby Oakfor actually is up to a 90, and Thibodeau got up to an 81. Only position that could use a little bit help, but Ojulari is pretty solid even at 76. We have Jackson, we have Banks, we have Flott, Trey Hawkins. So we need probably another cornerback for depth. Safeties, though, are looking pretty good. So are kickers, and so is our punter. So, but left defensive end, but both defensive end spots, those are positions that we really need to look at filling up. So let's get to the free agent pool and see who's out here for the first year. All right. Who are the top guys? Well, Chase Young is available. We need defensive end help, and so is Christian Wilkins. But Chase Young, getting only 25-year-old Chase Young. Let's see about the neutral deal and see where this puts us. I don't know if this is really going to put us in the running right now. Yeah, we're 3rd place. Okay, that's got to go up. Player friendly. We got to make that go up. Well, we're 2nd place behind the Texans now. We may have to kick that up. Let's see about left ends. Tyquan Lewis and Larry. So let's bring in Lewis, because we don't even have any defensive ends. But Lewis is not a guy that I'm looking at to be a starter. I think we need to look at the draft potentially for a replacement fully. But Lewis is definitely a stopgap guy that I think we can bring in. All right, let's check receivers, because we're going to need because we need some new receivers in here. Curtis Samuel. I really want to look for scheme fit guys. Golly, we could bring back potentially Odell. But I don't think I want to go that route. Agnew. Braxton Berrios. Who was that other guy? Curtis Samuel, I think? Yeah, it was Curtis Samuel. 82 overall. Yeah, I think he's worth bringing in. See if this neutral deal puts us in the running to bring him in. Get some help here at receiver. We're his only offer. Okay, so in neutral we'll probably be able to get him. What are we at, 17 million? Or is there a 1 between that? I can't tell. Okay, I think we're at 17 million, so we still have money to spend. Okay, what quarterbacks are available? And Kirk Cousins. Wow, okay. But, oh my gosh. But Daniel Jones is coming off leading us to the playoffs. I think the route to go with quarterback, just somebody to put pressure on him, is getting a rookie in maybe the 2nd round. Maybe somebody like a Jalen Daniels, you know, just somebody to maybe test him a little bit, or maybe trading for a guy. All right, so we definitely need some help at linebacker as well. Josh Uchi, Zach Bond. Let's actually bring in Bond. He'll be a little bit cheaper. Yeah, we need some left outside linebacker help. That's really the only linebacker spot that's kind of lacking a little bit, you know? So let's bring in Bond. And could bring in another corner as well. Somebody that is interested, but also fits the scheme. Ooh, Jordan Lewis. I mean, I'm just looking for depth in this situation. Sidney Jones, yeah. Let's bring him in on a 1-year deal. Get some extra corners. And that's it. 5 out of 5 for the first wave. Okay, well, you know, Chase Young has a better offer from the Texans. So you know what? We're going to increase this. I want him. Very player friendly. This may be overpaying. 5 years, a lot of money for a guy who's 25 and could just be a game changer for us. Now we're third. Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to get Chase Young. That's kind of devastating. That's our final offer. We're just going to have to leave it where it is. So 5 out of 5. So, you know, Bond, Samuel, Lewis, I think those guys will sign, but I don't know about Chase Young. Let's see. Let's advance to the next week, and let's pray that maybe Chase decides to go with us. Probably the biggest fish we're trying to get right now. Oh boy. All right. See if we sign anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got Chase Young. Probably overpaid for him, and he actually doesn't fit our scheme, but you know what? We need defensive end help. We got Curtis Samuel, too. I brought in Tyquan Lewis. We got Zach Bond, and we got Sidney Jones, the fourth, for cornerback depth. Okay, and all these guys I said Chase Young fit our scheme, but when you have a guy like Chase Young available on the market, you got to go out and snag him. And based on the fact we only have $4.04 million left, we just spent a whole crap load of money in free agency already. So I think, you know, because we spend most of it on Chase Young, that may be it for free agency for us this season. So let's go ahead and get to our roster. I want to take a look at our roster and, you know, see where we are and take a look at other holes that we might now have to fill in the draft. So let's see. All right. Okay, well, quarterback we've already known is pretty good. We do need a new fullback, but we can probably get one at the very beginning of the season. So yeah, Curtis Samuel coming in, 80 overall. We got 2 80 receivers. I wasn't really looking for anybody to surpass Slayton, but I was looking for somebody to be alongside of him to complement him. And Samuel's a scheme fit guy as well, so I think that really pays off for us. You know, 7 years Ohio State. We got Samuel in here. We got Robinson and we got Hyatt. So we got a pretty young receiving core, but we'll probably get even younger because we'll be looking for guys to play receiver in the draft. We could use another tight end. We didn't do anything with offensive line in free agency so far because really our offensive line I think is in decent shape, and we don't have anybody that's like in the low 60s or anything like that. So I think offensive line can be pretty much the same, but we need to draft some guys for depth. And Lewis at 75 for defensive end is pretty good, and Chase Young just completely changes the game. 89 overall right end, that definitely helps out a lot. I think I still need to draft another defensive end because we could find a better guy to kind of to complement Lewis, or we may just go with Lewis as our main guy. Defensive tackle is still pretty good. I got Bond as another linebacker here. He doesn't really help out a whole lot in terms of replacing, but yeah, because I don't think we can do better than what we had. But we need more middle linebacker depth and more right outside linebacker depth. So we got a little bit of linebacker depth, but we need more in the draft. Corners, Jones is now our 4th best corner, and we have Hawkins, so we need cornerback depth probably as well. Safety depth is pretty solid. So really, I think offensive line all over the board, defensive line, corners, receivers, and that's really what we just need to look for in the draft. And a quarterback that potentially could be better than a 75 overall Daniel Jones. Just talking about overall perspective. Now, Jones could get even better this next season, but who knows? That remains to be seen. But getting Chase Young is a new defensive end. He's going to be rocking that 92 like Michael Strahan, so power to him. So we're going to go ahead and advance through the rest of free agency because I don't think we're going to be doing anything else. We don't have any money. We only have $4.4 million left, so I don't really want to. And there's really, I think, no other positions that we could look at to really fix up in free agency, if you will. Okay, so private workouts. Let's go ahead and delegate students to staff. Mock draft 5. Let's see what they have us projected to do now that free agency is in the rearview mirror. So right now, we have the 24th pick, and they're projecting to take Quinn Ewers. Wow, okay, all right. Well, that would actually not be that bad of an option. That actually would not be that bad. I think that actually may be a decent route to go. Especially considering that, I don't know about Daniel Jones. So we may be looking at bringing in Quinn Ewers to challenge him for the starting job. We may have an open quarterback competition next season. All right. But we still need to address receiver, offensive line, defensive line, and corners. And I'm talking about for guys to go behind the current starters that we have. All right, draft time. Let's get it.
Next up, the Commanders are on the clock.
All right. So 24th pick, first round. Let's see if Ewers is still here. He is here, and we don't need a running back, and he's the best player available. So we're going to draft Quinn Ewers out of University of Texas. Potentially is our new quarterback. But I say potentially because if Daniel Jones, if this lights a fire under his belly and he leads us to a playoff win or multiple playoff wins next season, then he's convinced me he's the man, and then maybe Quinn Ewers is trade bait in the future. But you know what? You got to stack up guys at the most important position. So that's where Quinn Ewers comes in. Challenge for Daniel Jones because, hey, led us to a playoff win the previous season. This season that we just had didn't win it. And we do need cornerback depth, and Cam Hart slits. So I'm going to go with him and get another good young corner. And he fits our scheme. So Cam Hart, welcome to the Giants. All right. I may just go best player available, but I do want to go ahead and get some offensive linemen and defensive linemen at some point in this draft. And right now we are in the 3rd round. We have a pick in every round so far, so that's been so far pretty good for us. We do need receiver help. So I'm going to take Jalen McMillan out of Washington. Get some help there. We need to get some young receivers in here because we need some depth. We got Curtis Samuel in free agency, which really helps, but we need more receiver depth for sure. All right. And we're going to need some offensive linemen at this point of the draft. So I think we may be going offensive line pretty heavy or defensive line. So Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin is looking pretty solid at 6'7". So we're going to go with him. We're really drafting based on needs right now. So it's kind of the way that we're going to go for the rest of this draft.
And
all right, here we are in the 5th round.
It's the 49ers.
So as far as defensive ends, we're not going to have good pickings in terms of that. So we may just have to go with whoever is just available at this point. Let's get a guard if we can. Maybe a center that could play guard as well. On tackles. Day 3. So these guys are all projected to go day 3. So I don't think I'm reaching too much with these guys. Wow, getting low on the clock. Javontes Spraggins right guard out of Tennessee. We need offensive line depth, so we're going to go with him. We're just picking based on what we need. This probably is a reach, but it's a position, it's depth that we need on our offensive line.
Now on the clock, the Giants.
6th round. All right, let's take a look and see what defensive ends are even left. Probably nobody spectacular. There's a bunch of receivers still on the board, but we took care of that earlier. Well, he's a right end. Jordan Birch out of Oregon is the best right end on the board. We can always change his position to left end, but right now we just need to get defensive line depth because that's something that we just need. So Jordan Birch, welcome to the Giants, our 6th round selection. And now we're going to be picking in the 7th round.
The New York Giants.
And this is our last pick. I'm not going to go after a fullback because we'll just have to address that before the preseason starts. So now I'm thinking that we just kind of really need some defensive end help. But you know what? This left end, John Morgan III out of Arkansas, is looking pretty solid. So I'm going to go with him. I know it's taking 2 guys at the same position, but we're going to do that. All right. John Morgan III. So we had selections in every round, but we didn't have multiple picks in any round. So first draft, I think pretty solid. And it starts with Quinn Ewers. And I'm looking at a guy, you know, he's 70 overall right now. But if Daniel Jones slips up, Ewers could be looking to take his spot. And then we drafted Cam Hart, 66 overall corner. We just needed depth. Jalen McMillan, wide receiver out of Washington, good young receiver. Hopefully he can develop. Jack Nelson, left tackle. We drafted a right guard, Spraggins, and we drafted Jordan Birch, and we drafted John Morgan as well. All right. So that is going to do it for our draft. So now let's go to adjust the roster because I want to make a couple of adjustments on potentially the defensive line to make sure that we have our numbers kind of situated there okay. So Quinn Ewers can wear number 3. He actually is listed at 68 right here, but he's going to get some playing time in the preseason for sure. And this is kind of like the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, or Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre situation. We're drafting Ewers really to kind of put the pressure on Jones that he has to keep getting better than a 75 and lead us to playoff success in order for him to really keep his job with the Giants. Darius Slayton, Curtis Samuel, Neil Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. Okay, so Jalen McMillan. Let me look him up because I think he's a real player. I know Ewers is, and I know that he wears number 3, so I'm not going to look to change that. Okay, so he is a real player out of Washington. He wears number 11, so we'll let him keep his college number. We only still have 2 tight ends, so we're going to have to probably look for another tight end later on, maybe next offseason. Jack Nelson, Wisconsin. Oh, is he a real player? He is, okay. 79 is his number. Pew, still here. I don't know if this guy's a real player, though. Javontes. Oh, Spraggins? Is he a real player? Wow, he is a real player. Okay, right guard, 66, out of Tennessee. All right, cool. So we still need some offensive line depth. So what I'm probably going to have to do is that, you know what, let's put Ezadu over there at right tackle so that way we have some better depth behind Evan Neal over there. Kind of make the roster a little bit more balanced here. Because we drafted Jack Nelson to be the backup to Thomas. We have 1 left guard, and we have 1 center. We have 2 right guards, and we have 2 right tackles now. So I think what I'm also going to do is that I'm going to go out and sign street free agents at left guard and center, just to fill out the roster. John Morgan III. I don't know if he's real or not. Oh, he is out of Arkansas. Okay. John Morgan III. He wears number 6. I don't think that's a number that we have available, but let's see. Let's see if it is. Because it may be. I don't know. We don't have a quarterback wearing that number, I don't think. No, we don't have that. Okay. Discard changes. Okay, so he'll have to wear just 63. It's one of his numbers. It's worth 6. Chase Young. Jordan Riley. Jordan Birch. I don't know if he's real or not, but let's see. Jordan Birch. American football. Okay. Out of Oregon. Okay. Maybe he transferred. I don't know. Jordan Birch. Looks like he wore number 5. But at Oregon... Oh, he actually wore number 1 at Oregon. I think he's still at Oregon. Okay. Well, number 1 is available. Let's have him wear number 1. His old college number. Hopefully he can develop next few years, provide a spark on the defensive line. Fortunately, with Chase Young here as the main veteran, give us a little bit of help. Boogie Basham Jr., what a name. I think I need to go out also and get another middle linebacker. Let's move Boogie to right outside linebacker to back up Thibodeau. And we will get another middle linebacker in basically the veteran minimum wage pickup level of free agency, like right before the season. Because we need to fill up a couple more holes. I don't think I need to do anything with corners now because we did draft Cam Hart out of Notre Dame. Sounds like a real player to me, but let me see. Cam Hart. Yeah, he is. Number 5, corner out of Notre Dame. Well, he wears number 5. We'll keep him wearing number 2 for right now. Just have him rock that. Safety's looking good. They're at the... That's the way I want it. Caleb Shuddick, kicker, battling it out for his life. Yeah, okay, so Gillian actually wore number 6, our punter. So, all right. Well, that makes perfect sense. Okay, then. So there we go. That is the way things are looking. But we still have to make some roster adjustments, and I'm going to do that when I get to the preseason point. And I'm going to go ahead and advance to next week since we've adjusted the roster the way that I want to. Got to go get a left guard, a center, and we've got to get linebackers. So let's go ahead and upgrade players before we do that. But before we start at the preseason and camp, we're bringing in some free agents who still are out there and some guys that could help us out. And we're actually at only 52 players, so we actually do need to bring some guys to the roster. So we need to bring in some guys for camp anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need left guard for sure. AJ Kane. Let's bring him in on a 1-year deal. Looks pretty big, kind of fat, but whatever. Center. Let's bring in Justin Britt as our backup center. We need one. And we need... What other positions did we need to kind of... I forgot what other positions. I knew offensive line was definitely one of them. But let's see here. Let's double check this. Make sure we have what we need to start off 2024. Okay, so we're good there. So AJ Kane actually is better rated than Justin Pugh. So if he plays his cards right and he plays well, he may play his way into the job. And Britt is 71 as our backup center, is looking pretty solid. All right, our offensive line is filled up. Defensive line is okay. Defensive tackle's okay. Middle linebacker, and we need another middle linebacker. Okay. All right, middle linebacker. Let's see what other middle linebackers are out there. Maybe potentially if one of these guys is actually an upgrade. Let's kind of see what it looks like. Free agent middle linebackers. Who's out here? Jordan Hicks. All right. Well, scheme fit guy, 77. Bring him in. Cool. Oh, yeah, we need a fullback. That's also what we need. We don't have one of those. Let's go fullback as well. Not many to select from. Let's bring in Alex Arma Jr. I thought about going with Burton, but I've used him in other rebuilds too. So I'm trying to, mix it with the players. Wait, can I not sign him? Your team over the salary cap. Okay, well, that stinks. So we are at the salary cap max right now. So that's a little bit discouraging. I guess we're going to have to cut somebody to make room for him. Because I do want to have a fullback on this roster. We have to make some pre-camp cuts. I'm going to cut Caleb Shudik. We really have no spot for another kicker because Gano is going to be the guy. I don't know if this puts us below the cap or not to sign a 67 overall fullback, but let's see. It probably doesn't, but we'll see what happens. Fullback. Armagh Jr. Over the cap still, okay. The Chase Young deal really may kind of mess with us for a bit, but hopefully it's still worth it in the end when maybe he helps lead us to success. That's what I'm hoping for, but we're going to have to wait and see about that. We got a bunch of, extra running backs. I feel like, Deion Jackson, I'm going to go ahead and just cut you right now. It won't increase the cap, so can we cut any of these guys and actually have it free up cap space? So getting rid of Brightwell will free up 1.2 million. Okay, so that's good. What about Ingram? Can we cut him and will it actually free up room? 1.22 million. Okay, good. All right, so we cut a couple of running backs. Hopefully this will give us some cap room to sign a free agent fullback. I was going to cut that bottom running back. He probably will still be cut anyway, but we needed to make moves that actually resulted in freeing up cap space. All right, so we got our fullback in here, Armagh Jr. Good. Had to cut a couple of running backs, but hey, it is what it is. Based on the Chase Young deal, we may be in salary cap struggles for a little bit, but that's the squad that we have going into year 2. So that'll do it for part 1 of the New York Giants rebuild. Had a surprisingly successful first season. Daniel Jones had a good year. We made the playoffs, lost the first round to the Packers. But you know what? We added a big free agent acquisition in Chase Young, the former 49er and commander. So he'll provide a major big boost to the defense. And, because defensive end was definitely a position that we were looking to upgrade this offseason. We drafted Quinn Ewers to be, right now, our backup quarterback behind Daniel Jones. And, Jones has got to feel a little bit of the pressure on him now because Ewers has a pretty high upside. So if, we have a tough year and it's tough sledding and we're kind of in a little bit of a quarterback controversy, in the middle of the season, I'll kind of open things up a little bit and, put Ewers in and, I want to see what he can do. See if he maybe might be the right guy for the Giants. Not a top 5 prospect quarterback, but one of the top 10 prospects from the 2023 class that is current. So, that's kind of what I'm, trying to see about Ewers and see what he can do. So thank y'all for checking out the first part of this sets of live streams. I'll be keeping these consistent, hopefully every Monday or Tuesday, depending on, what day I want to do it when I have off days. But thank y'all for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.